Look for both supports and exhaust start for both supports. So even less chance of an all-in, given these summoners and given their rune choices there. I think neither side really should have the damage to actually, be able to threaten an all-in 2v2 kill unless they poke someone down very heavily before that.
All right.
This should be very interesting. Really creative draft.
Well, we do have a silent report. Let's take it away.
Thanks, guys. Invert, Sona, J4 bot lane. How is that going to work for you guys today?
Yeah, so one of the things that counters a Sona lane, as you've seen, is teams tend to take the Tahm Kench away and then try to have strong dive presence. The J4 prevents the dives compared to the Pike, which is what people normally try to pick. So we prevent the dives with the Jarvan, and then we make sure that the Sona gets to scale, while on the other side of the map we're able to make plays as well. And the Jarvan's a flex. So when we're able to do that, they think they're picking into Jarvan jungle, but they're not, so we get a jungle counter pick as well.
And did you expect FBI and huhi to be making a return to the bot lane, and did that influence your draft today?
Yeah, we had an inkling, especially because Deftly and Ole were playing the Academy games. Therefore, we kind of had an understanding of what FBI and huhi want to play, especially because they're a newer bot lane. They've only shown like a certain amount of picks, so we were prepared for that.
Well, thank you, and best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
Very interesting. So, utilizing this Jarvan to help prevent the dives, I think that does make sense, along that line to take the exhaust. And I do think, to be fair, it can be difficult. The Flag and Dragon knockup is actually a pretty powerful deterrent. If you mess up your dive at all and you are getting CC'd up there, Jarvan certainly can help to delay. But I definitely don't see it as nearly of a defensive option as something along the lines of the Tahm Kench. So we'll have to see how this does play out. It is the E start, though, for Wadid. So he will be the farmer, and we'll see how he's going to be able to play this one out in the early levels.
Well, he last hit 1 minute with it so far, as he knows that the scariness of a melee Tahm Kench is quite high. There's so much damage out of that champion early game. And so he's going to play a bit more defensively and last hit what he can. You always expect to see a farm deficit in any Sona lane, and Wadid is going to do his very best to try to get some of that gold. It's
also going to be fun to actually track this jungle matchup, because like he was saying, as Viper early level 2 here,
and he's going to walk backwards, but a nice E forward gets the still sweet spot, so nice job by Hauntzer. And with ranking E, of course, has the lifesteal as well.
Yeah, but quickly back to that jungle matchup. So Contractz, going with this high priority Sylas jungle, thinking it is into Jarvan, but instead it is flex around. Santorin gets to take Hail of Blades. Rek'Sai, very powerful early duelist on this champion, so should have the early game advantage. Definitely in that 1v1, and we'll see if he's going to be able to utilize that to get any sort of scuttle control or anything along those lines. But for now, you can see both bot and mid are pushing in for Golden Guardians, which is going to give Contractz priority despite the matchup.
All right, well, both junglers know where each other are. As the Scar's Bloom was popped, it shows Santorin walking top side, clearing his fourth camp right there, and with the Bloom getting hit, knows Contractz is down there by his own Gromp, and it looks like they'll be trading Scuttle Crabs, though, with Contractz taking the south one, Santorin heading northwest and grabbing this one. That means he can be available to make the Aatrox Riven matchup even more volatile. Viper on yet another Riven game, and expecting to blast that matchup open.
Yeah, this could potentially be a 3-buff here. The blue buff hasn't actually been taken by Contractz. If the map does get split, but Santorin not even going to actually check it.
He knows it's available because he got a ward on it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that. Perhaps just not feeling super confident, to be able to make that invade since his mid laner is still being pushed in, but he did have the pushing top, so I feel like it's something he could have considered. And it seems like they actually might be going for an early blue donate at the very least. Froggen was coming over here to help cover, but I do think this will be the first blue actually going straight over to Froggen. Oh, okay.
He's just leashing at time.
Yeah, so they're just actually really nervous, I think, about a potential invade. They were expecting the Rek'Sai to be there, so Froggen is around, just in case that it did become a battle at that blue buff.
End of the day, it is going to be normal buffs across the board, but again, to your point, I think you're right. Santorin did have the space to probably steal that blue away. Took the chickens instead and is back on the map, and he'll be fine for the rest of this time. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to kind of ask what if that went a little bit differently around. Nice Q by Hauntzer, lands the second one as well, really doing nicely. Gets a lot of damage down, and now Contractz lurking right behind that lane.
Yeah, and so they had spotted Contractz, I do believe. There was question mark pings, over on that ward, so they did know he's in the area. Santorin had just been hanging out, waiting for a potential gank opportunity, but now knowing that Sylas is here, Hauntzer should be able to very easily push this out, and this will mean Viper has to expend the teleport. Hauntzer should just be able to simply walk back to base and actually hold on to his TP, so he does end up getting that additional advantage, goes home with more farm, and also can just walk this right back to lane, hold on to that TP if he does so desire.
I want to see Viper make that a freeze. Thing is, as you're mentioning, Hauntzer is indeed walking back to lane, but Viper AoE'd the entire wave down and is doing it yet again. And I think could have forced the TP if he instead made that a freeze and you know, made Hauntzer lose an entire wave there.
The danger with a strategy like that, because the wave was stacked so high, is if you just use your TP and you take too much damage, then you can start to lose control of the lane simply because of kind of the health deficit there. So instead, he will push that out. He will utilize that time to get another deep ward, such as the one that it actually tracked Contractz a little bit earlier, placing a pink there over by that blue buff. So, you know, just trying to keep himself safe. 2 wards here should keep him safe from anything besides a potential lane gank, but that's going to be very hard to pull off with Aatrox and Sylas.
Increase now damage to the bottom side. Nice piercing arrow puts WildTurtle very low, who does still have his TP, so he can get back to lane. He's already made the first recall for the Frostfang itself, but Tyr is almost ready to be bought. Needs to get another 100 to 200 gold, and then he can make that a reasonable recall. Doesn't want to do that until then, though.
Yeah, and FBI, you know, was also low on mana, and he's going to be going back to base here too. So bot lane going fairly even. So, you know, if the goal is to just kind of protect this Sona, allow it to scale up, I would say mission accomplished thus far. You know, you have farm fairly equivalent on both sides. You know, you generally do expect the Sona lanes to be pretty far down, and they will be able to get a reasonable buy off, go back to base. FBI is going to utilize that teleport to try to, at the very least, force out the teleport from his opponents. But this wave will be pushing towards him. It was just going to stack, so they may be keeping Contractz down here and trying to put FlyQuest in kind of this awkward position where they need to reset the wave, they need to push out, and doing that would expose themselves.
All right, the FlyQuest lane is going to push kind of no matter what as the recalls come through. Yeah, Catalyst. So the sort of build through
like Taric. Yeah.
Exactly. You just get the early Abyssal Mask, and well, you're against Vel'Koz and Sylas, and there's a little bit of magic from Varus, so I guess it fits that build reasonably well. Is Q max on this Jarvan, by the way, so not the flag attack speed, but simply a lower cooldown on the Q and more armor pen.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting build. You know, Abyssal does give you a little bit of CDR as well. You know, when you do actually go up to your completed Sightstone, you're going to get some CDR there also. So, you know, having a little bit of that in the mix, and hopefully will get tanky enough that he can actually act as that primary engage.
Yeah, and when he does engage, of course, has the magic damage amping aura for 2 of his primary carries, the Sona, obviously magic damage, and the Corki, who is almost entirely magic damage. So it does become more of an offensive threat in that regard as well, and makes sense for Abyssal Mask in this team composition.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And, you know, up on the top side, really across the map, it is fairly slow-paced as far as the lanes are not playing super aggressive. Golden Guardians is going to make this move now. Having pushed in bot lane, having the push in mid lane a little bit, they are the first ones to make a move on this blue buff. And it looks like, you know, FlyQuest is just happy to straight up give it up. You know, we'll be dropping that over, but, you know, we have seen kind of the proclivity, I think, from Santorin this split to, you know, pick these early game champions and not always be as aggressive with them. We've seen it a few times from Elise, and, you know, it's going to be ganked down on the bot side, though.
Jarvan, ult stolen, flash use. He's not quite in range to go for the play, not going to lock them down, but it is a summoner spell out of WildTurtle, forced to flash away from the lane.
Yeah, that was actually pretty well played by Wadid, though. You know, the peeling knockup, denying the range for the Cataclysm there from Contractz, so it does keep him safe. But yeah, I feel like Santorin had been playing a lot more aggressively in spring and in the past, and has been more content to kind of play this farm it out style. They do have very good scaling, so maybe the Rek'Sai is used more to match the early game, but it's interesting when you hear Invert talking about, you know, the idea of getting the jungle counter pick and then just seeing it become a pure farm matchup.
Yeah, fair point. We'll see if Santorin does get out on the board and out into the map and do some PvP action before too long, but right now it's the first sort of aggression for Golden Guardians. It's them pushing to the bottom river 9 minutes in and taking a Drake with no one really around. Some of this, of course, is the bot lane at work. Again, you expect to win the matchup against the Sona lane. They have so far. They're up 30 CS, and they're going to get the first Drake out of that one as well. But on this side of the map, it is actually down in farm in the mid lane for FlyQuest, and only equal on the top side. So again, to your point with Santorin, there isn't really anything going positively for them yet, unless they're just waiting for scaling.
Yeah, and they will have, you know, really strong later stages of the game here with the Corki, obviously, also with this Sona. But, you know, that being said, Vel'Koz is monstrously strong late game. You know, there is good scaling options on the other side here too. So, you know, it does feel pretty even in that regard, and it's going to come down largely to execution without, you know, many early moves being kind of dropped down on either side. The one thing I do always kind of have the concern of is how effective will Viper's Riven be, you know, if he's not able to run the game through the side lanes, because there's Tahm Kench there, that is going to be very difficult to play through side lanes. And then if you have to play into a team fight against an exhaust Tahm Kench, that becomes also very, very difficult, I feel. So we'll see how he's going to be able to manage himself in those team fights.
So Pobelter getting away from all the Froggen Qs, not knocked up there either as the wave clear comes through, and most of that money does go over to the Golden Guardians mid laner here, landing one skill shot at the very end and remaining exactly equal in farm. As now is the next play for Golden Guardians. Huhi on the Tahm Kench, ults the squad around, brings the FBI to the top lane, and they're going to quickly investigate this Rift Herald and put it in evidence.
What you got?
For now, none.
None?
I didn't even plan them, it was there. You know, just naturally make stupid jokes.
It's impressive. Quite
Thanks.
the skill. But I do like the ult up there from Huhi. I think that's a nice move. There's not nearly enough pressure on the bot side to be trading a turret in this position, you know, for FlyQuest. Turtle got one plate. He's going to go back to base, and they're going to have to actually just try to match this lane swap. But with that Rift Herald already being grabbed, with the Air Dragon already being grabbed as well there, Golden Guardians, you know, are taking more advantage of these neutral objectives on the map, despite the fact that FlyQuest has a slight gold lead. The Rift Herald is going to be worth, you know, a couple hundred gold, and certainly the added move speed is worth a couple hundred gold as well. So I kind of do like the position right now for the Golden Guardians.
All right, blue buff handed over to Froggen this time for real. We're in that one. Gonna feel good about this as the support quests just start to complete right now. The support of Golden Guardians and Huhi and WildTurtle just now hits the 500 gold mark and can put their own wards down on the map. I think just moments to go until Wadid has it. He's at 473 of 500, so 2 CS and that Sightstone turns on, and that signifies to me mid-game for the supports. As a couple of wards go down, a zombie ward spawns up, make it 2, and FlyQuest continue to clear wards out of the top side.
Yeah, jungle items are also now complete for both junglers, so, you know, at a pretty strong point in the game, you can see Stopwatch available and ready. Now, I'd love to see them actually look to make a play here, and they are going to drop the Rift Herald and try to force this on the top side. Remember, they do have Stopwatch to reset the turret aggro. They have a Devour from Tahm Kench to reset that as well. Santorin is here to protect, so it would be a difficult dive to pull off if they want to go for it.
3-on-3 takes crescendo there as Contractz. His 2 plates have dropped, and they might be able to get a third, but the weak point going to get hit for massive damage, and it might just be the 320 gold and half the turret health donated over. Looks like he's feeling safe. Wadid not getting hit by the piercing arrow, and they'll wait to the next wave. So, okay, about 400 gold overall earned. Rift Herald's worth 100 when you kill it. 320 for the plates, not too bad.
Yeah, pretty much dead even at this point. You can see a nice little move that FBI is utilizing actually when he's trying to get damage in. Is he's proccing his lethal tempo with a spell backing out of turret aggro range, then utilizing the added attack speed to do a little bit more turret damage. That is one of the nice things that you can utilize with this keystone for a champion such as Varus, who can proc it very consistently, you know, with the piercing arrow or the hail of arrows. That E certainly makes it pretty easy to get on.
Definitely does, and it's very powerful right there, and we'll see what he looks like into the mid-game as Blade of the Ruin King is done, which is the first major power spike, and we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah, it has a little bit of cloth armor. You know, it's one of these situations where you're kind of worried about the potential dive from both the Riven and the Rek'Sai, as well as the J4, so a lot of physical damage coming through. I do think that he is probably just going to go into something like along the lines of Tabbies. I wonder how defensive he will go. If he will be, you know, something like Tabbies into straight up a Rage Blade, or if he's going to feel the need to actually go all the way down to something like a Phantom Dancer to try to survive any potential dive. I don't really think that's necessary when you have a Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of supposed to be your defensive itemization and then allowing you to build more aggressively as a result.
Definitely agree. Would not want to see Phantom Dance a second item, but it's up to what the player decides is important in this game. Third plate drops the top lane, solo gold for FBI, and that team hatching wards down here, a pair of them actually, as they both walk by at all. And no real shenanigans to be had here as Contractz simply waiting for most of the jungle to respawn. Plates now finally fall, 3 plates to probably a couple across the rest of the map.
Yeah, next point of action may just be this Mountain Dragon that is about to spawn. You can see Viper is in that area. Bot lane is being pushed out right now by Hauntzer, so it's just kind of this push and pull across the map. Santorin has just been following around, you know, trying to answer Contractz, but I do think if you're Contractz, you know, in this game and you're just dead even at this point against the Rek'Sai, you're going to be feeling really good. I do think that Sylas has really, really strong scaling options. You know, as you do get those additional levels, getting lower cooldown on your ultimate, can be very powerful for the team fight, but the Dragon has been started out. They're TPing in, so they want to fight this now.
It's going to be a 5-on-5. Both around the wings does have the package as well. Going to be a big deal. Not quite going to land. There comes package across the squad. They got the front line locked up, and there comes Riven across the top. Huhi low on health, and in goes the Vel'Koz damage. damage. 1 for 0 to FlyQuest, make it a second already. And now a stopwatch used keeps the jungler alive. A third kill now coming across. FlyQuest just completely slaughter that fight.
Damn, Pobelter with the package was so critical. He actually used that to knock FBI further into the team, splitting him up, and it meant that despite the fact that he gets devoured up by huhi and uses his flash, he could never create enough distance to actually separate himself from the rest of the FlyQuest team. So it was a great engage from Pobelter. We'll watch this one more time on the bottom side of your screen. Follow Pobelter here on the Corki, and right here, knocking FBI straight into the knockup. Despite the fact that huhi had great positioning, there's just not enough distance to actually be covered. A good Vel'Koz ult is coming across, but it's too little too late. The healing and shielding coming out of the Sona, more than enough to equal that. And just a really clean fight there from FlyQuest, grabbing themselves that Mountain Dragon will make any potential Baron attempts that much more potent. And anytime you do have a Sona on your team as well, it's relatively low risk because of all the healing and shielding that can be utilized to actually just tank that up.
Yeah, I just checked. I went and looked at inventories back before that fight started. Pretty much everyone who needed a recall had done it. So that was full power on both sides, and FlyQuest simply out-executed. Both squads are ready, and it was better on the red team. So now, a nice 1,500 gold lead. One of those Drakes finally answered. Mountain Drake good for sieging, of course. And we crest now into a pretty solid mid-game with the Archangel staff now already done for WildTurtle, and item spikes coming across the board.
And I do think one of the really big things, these last couple games that FlyQuest has been winning, is Pobelter has really been stepping up. I do think he had a much more rough start of the split, but he has had a couple really strong games in a row, and a great start here again on the Corki. A really nice fight from him, showing just how powerful the package can be. Utilizing that to really kind of split up the team is not something you get to see too often because a lot of those packages can kind of turn into in packages, but he saw the opportunity, he saw that his team was there to back him up, and capitalizing on it wins the fight.
Beautiful right there. Now Viper gonna spot Contractz, say, get away from my crab. Has a seafood diet, out he goes. Sorry Contractz, not gonna be yours this time around. FlyQuest now the team in the lead here. They're the one who gets to command sort of the pace around the game. Contractz grabs a second crescendo and see if you can find anything more useful with that one, but Golden Guardians have yet to be on the board kill-wise. Gold close because of turret kills on the top side, eventually knocked down by their team.
Yeah, and Viper going to be pretty happy on the back of that fight. Did get a lot out of it, picking up a couple of those kills, has completed his Black Cleaver, has another Caulfield on top of that. So, going to be sitting on about 35% CDR, assuming he did take 5% from Inspiration. So, looking pretty good in that regard. And they are threatening a dive here. Pobelter is over on the side.
Contractz walks in, finds a really big stun on it with Wadid. Has to flag and drag away. Does stay alive, though, and there's really not any follow-up.
Surprised to see Froggen didn't just drop the ult. I do think that you could have perhaps threatened Wadid, but maybe thinking that's too tanky of a target to kind of make it worth dropping the ultimate there. But either way, we'll be able to push them back with that great stolen Sona ultimate. And Pobelter now on the side. They are threatening the engage.
Hey, next attempt this time to South ultimate available. Finds a knock on FBI. They got to find some teammates. So they're going to go for the dunk towards the backside. Wadid has to pull his hourglass now, but he's now isolated. Flags away. Flash and single automatic will kill him. The re-engage though. Froggen does pick up one kill as they trade back and forth. Pobelter also gone.
Yeah, great turnaround there, and holding onto that Vel'Koz ultimate certainly paying off now, but here comes Viper on the Riven. He was spotted by the ward. Does have flash and ulti, but with the information that he is there, they should not be getting caught out by this potential engage, and as soon as he walks away, they will go to push up once more, trying to threaten this, and Viper has got to actually answer this bottom wave that Hauntzer has been pushing.
It would have been a numbers lead for FlyQuest, as Viper was there far before Hauntzer was going to be, but as you mentioned, the wards let him back away without any issue. The wave is pushed in, caught though by Viper, and kind of a ceasefire across that mid lane.
Yeah, here this is one more time. They want to look for the engage on Froggen. They know he does not have his flash available, but a great ultimate from Varus, healing off a lot of this damage, and then Froggen just creates enough space, turns, drops the laser. Wadid getting very, very low. Pobelter gets knocked down. It is that trade of kills 1-for-1, but taking the mid laner for the support certainly is Golden Guardian's favor.
Heads up play by huhi, flashed after it for the last tongue lash into Devour and delivered a kill right back over. A bit of money across and some XP down for the mid laner. Viper gonna try to stop this recall. Easy enough to do. Makes him waste 8 seconds.
Yeah, just buying a little bit of time there, trying to keep that up on the bot side, continually shoving this in. It will mean that Hauntzer instead will just actually not go back to base, despite the fact that he has, completion money, for whichever item he does choose. Very likely Black Cleaver would be coming in here first. And Froggen will be up on that top side looking to answer. And while Vel'Koz is not who you really want to have in a side lane, it is fine, I think, even more so because you have the Tahm Kench, because you have the additional support that always can kind of come in if it does end up being extended one-to-one.
For sure. Side lane plays, mobility around the map, definitely trademarks. Oh, this is a big one, absolutely, up in 5 seconds. And you can see FlyQuest in the river first, but the gold, only 1,000 apart. Most players have bought not too hefty of inventories gold-wise. Seraph's now done, plus most of a Lichbane for WildTurtle is quite nice. Now hatching those wards. FlyQuest taking the vision over for themselves. Not a lot that Golden Guardians can see. It's the mid lane fight briefly, and you can clear those away.
Pretty go.
Corki, here comes the dive into the back line, over the top, but no one's stuck at the Cataclysm anymore. FlyQuest starting to run away, and they'll be able to kite away from the Vel'Koz ult, but keep a lot of their tools to align. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one, huhi caught with a 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills picked right back up. FlyQuest again for the 3-0 in the river.
Yeah, they're just executing better in these team fights, and Viper with that turnaround. Contractz getting poked low enough. Felt like he would be safe with the stopwatch and flash available, but Viper never gives him a chance, and they say, forget the dragon. We want the Baron here. Hauntzer does have teleport available, so they could try to see if they can stop this. He will be TPing in, but FlyQuest in a great position right now.
Yeah. No ult Vel'Koz, they have some damage, but they should never get to steal this. They should never get the steal, and it does get picked up there by Santorin. Now a lot of damage to Wadid, he's got to be careful. He's going to get found out. He'll drop a single kill as recompense for Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest so much farther ahead.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good about this. Golden Guardians now running out on the map, trying to at least grab this Infernal for themselves. It looks like, especially on the back of that kill and utilize the Tahm Kench ultimate, it should be their dragon. But hear this is one more time. So watch the health on Contractz. Contractz getting lower and lower, and then just waiting for the cooldowns. The Q ult flash straight in onto Contractz, and he just gets erased. Viper showing off those Riven mechanics. Really insane turnaround there, and FlyQuest, really, this entire lead is just off of 2 really well-executed dragon fights.
Absolutely beautiful right there, and it's 4,000 gold now with FlyQuest ahead, plus a Baron buff on most of their members to make it even more of this map to go their way. Taking some damage, but really with a Death's Dance, you heal all of it constantly, and it's not going to mean anything to Viper here.
Yeah, you can see Contractz looking over at his build. Kindle Gem, as well as the Phoenix Codex, plus the CDR from his jungle item. He is just trying to rush towards as much CDR as he can get. And now being level 11, the ultimate on the cooldown is going to get that much shorter. It is the 32-second cooldown. It's very hard to get to 16 in a competitive game as a jungler, so that is one of the major differences, compared to when we saw it in competitive play so much in the past. Junglers just don't get as much experience as soul laners. So, it's unlikely he will ever actually hit that 16 mark unless the game goes really, really late. And that is why I think he is feeling it's so important to get the additional CDR. It's so important to kind of get it down to a more manageable cooldown.
I get a second ult in the team fight. It'd be really nice right here. Mid lane out are going to fall. FlyQuest, their second turret of the game. Finally on the board and leading in that metric, but with a 5,000 gold lead and the Baron buff still on for a minute and a half, they're likely to get more. Viper feels comfortable in the bottom lane, has a full level lead over Hauntzer, plus the stopwatch that allows him to dive even more cleanly. And that's going to be dropping here as well, making it 3 turrets to 1.
Yeah, and there's just really not a lot of defensive vision for Hauntzer, so he doesn't have a lot of protection. As soon as you see FlyQuest missing from mid lane, you could very easily have multiple members coming in looking for that dive, and you can see all the aggressive vision here, setting up on the top side. They're now invading on the bot side. If you look across this mini-map, there are wards really in a line all the way down across here. That is a very, very advanced line of scrimmage, which is going to make it so difficult for Golden Guardians to respond to FlyQuest. They can just bounce back and forth to these lanes, but they are looking now for the collapse onto Viper, but he has the vision to easily react.
Yeah, good warding down by the rest of the FlyQuest squad. We wait to see what else they're going to do. As Corki sent to the top lane, Pobelter is going to start that one up. He's got a reinforced wave coming up there, so that can quickly be a tier 2 turret siege.
Yeah, and again, multiple wards in that side of the jungle too, so it is going to be hard to really catch him off guard. They do have to be a little bit worried about any potential Tahm Kench ultimate flanks, but that being said, if you go for that sort of play and all 3 lanes are pushed in with the Baron buff, there is a high cost associated with that play if it fails. You're going to be losing multiple turrets, very likely.
Again, mid lane tier 2. Corki this time still stuck in the top side, going to push that wave in, maybe keep Froggen at bay, but it's going to be the minion waves knocked down back and forth. Instead, FlyQuest running down to the bottom side. They've got a red buff to steal. Viper grabs that one, no issues. But a ward by Golden Guardian sees that they're up to that, and No more struggles, going to lose too much health right now. It's simply FlyQuest still playing Vision until Viper with Santorin going to knock down the bottom side of that. Will be another turret picked up as Hauntzer cannot defend it by himself. FlyQuest get the gold lead now even larger with their 4th turret kill.
Yeah, going to be able to pull off a pretty nice Baron power play there. Now 6,000 plus gold ahead. A lot of the critical items are coming through. Corki, I really think, becomes an absolute monster at 3 items, and Pobelter is actually, very close to that. Already has the 2 major items and the Zeal, so just needs about 1,000 more gold for that rapid fire. And when you get that crit auto with your rapid fire and Sheen proc, you can just absolutely delete people. That is when it becomes so incredibly threatening. Rank 3 on the ultimate as well. Another critical mark there, and GA now completed for Viper, so he is ready to go.
They're coming to play right now. From the backline, they delete WildTurtle. Over the top now comes the Vel'Koz damage. Wadid stuck by himself, flashing away. Might just stay alive. He's burning a little bit now. Viper stuck alone, but does he have the damage? He's trying to find FBI. Gets a bit, pops a stopwatch, burns him down, and he'll stay alive. This is so much damage going to FlyQuest on the re-engaged Santorin. Gets another one as well. 2 kills picked up for the FlyQuest side. Chasing him with the rest of the members, 4 versus 3. And what a fight turnaround with WildTurtle getting deleted at the start.
I mean, that was a great engage from Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest really showing off that gold lead, the power of the additional items there. The GA coming through huge for Viper. And Pobelter, despite actually, TPing in late and almost instantly dying, this was a great engage from Contractz. Stolen Sona ult, layered over with his chains, then followed Pobelter on this TP. The perfectly timed knockup there from Vel'Koz. He almost dies immediately, is pushed out. Wadid is pushed out, but this level 16 Viper with the GA gets the flash and the kill with that red buff on FBI, and then coming back up with that GA, just shields right back out as Santorin is able to knock down Contractz, and they're just so much stronger with those additional item completions that they are now looking for this potential dragon.
No, they find a slow out of Wadid. They might actually go for a little bit more as now they've got the package coming across. The guy's doing him yet again. Huhi with a good flash, but now on the top side, both going to be a little bit careful. Takes a lot of damage, pops a stopwatch, and now it's WildTurtle finding a kill on a Contractz. Wadid building some space. Team still alive, 5v4, the flash on over. There's the jump, unstoppable now is Viper. Vel'Koz damage cut short, and so are the lifelines of Golden Guardians and Ace. FlyQuest walking all over their opponents.
And that could be it, Freak. They are right at the base. 27 minutes in, they have the minion wave. They want to end.
Looks like it's going to be 3 wins in a row for FlyQuest. They're a very rough start, but win after win after win. And their closest competition, Golden Guardians, currently sitting in a playoff spot, will knock them a game down. Will make that just a little bit closer. And FlyQuest going to walk their way into a 4-7 record to end Saturday.
And some very dominant team fighting here from FlyQuest to take this win over Golden Guardians.